but explore yourself, see what comes out, and then see if there's something you can hold on to. And God creates you in his own way, like he does fingerprints. And circumstances bring you into that give you an opportunity to say, well, I don't know if I can do this, but let me try and see what develops into you, what comes out, and see if you can build up your little repertoire of who you are.
Welcome to the Shaping Freedom podcast, where we dive into conversations that inspire personal growth, transformation, and clarity in challenging times. I'm your host, Lisane Basquiat. Today, I have the immense honor of sitting with a woman whose presence, power, and voice have reverberated across generations. Melba Moore is a living legend, a Tony Award-winning Broadway star, a Grammy-nominated vocalist, and a pioneer whose influence reaches far beyond the stage or studio. From her groundbreaking role in Hair to her Tony-winning performance in Pearly, Melba helped redefine what was possible for Black women in American theater. And when she stepped off the stage and into the recording booth, she gave us anthems that became soundtracks to our lives. Love's Coming at Ya, This Is It, You Stepped Into My Life, Lean on Me, and Falling, and other songs that pulsed with joy, resilience, and emotional fire. This is a woman who didn't just follow the trends, she set them. And she did so with grace, grit, and unshakable faith. In 2023, she received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a moment that was decades in the making and more than deserved. And in 2022, President Joe Biden honored her with the Lifetime Achievement Award and the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, recognizing not just her artistic brilliance, but her deep and enduring service to community and culture. But what moves me most about Melba Moore is her spirit, her ability to keep rising, evolving, and sharing her gifts generously. Whether through her music, mentorship, or her story of overcoming trials and reclaiming her own narrative, Melba Moore has given us so much more than entertainment. She's offered us a map of perseverance and self-renewal. So today's conversation isn't just about looking back at her remarkable legacy. It's about celebrating the present-day power of a woman who continues to shape freedom through creativity, courage, and love. Thank you so much for being here with me, Melba Moore.
Well, what an intro. Can I live up to that? My goodness, thank you.
That is you. That is everything that you've brought to this world, and everything that you've shared with us creatively. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate it. And I'm sure you know that, but I want you to know how much we appreciate it. So you've been called a trailblazer in music and in television. And I'm wondering, when you think about your own legacy, what is it that you want people to remember the most?
I don't know how you tell somebody to have courage, but I'll just say it that way because I don't know what form it takes to whomever may see this message. But if there's something like that you feel like you want to just try, please try it. Don't be afraid of failing. If you are afraid, do it anyway, or try it anyway. You can't really guarantee that anybody can do anything, but you can guarantee that you can try. I would encourage you to try. You just have no idea what may happen. We're talking about me being a trailblazer. When you say it all these decades later, it sounds like I planned it all, but I didn't. So I would encourage people who have no idea what they even maybe want to do. Maybe they don't have a clear desire. Just go out there and try some good things, some positive things. Try to get around some good, positive people who can encourage you and maybe go along the way with you. I never took any of these steps alone. It was always with other people or someone who stood by me. So I have to say thank you to all the different people who supported me in the different stages of my life. You're just trying to live your life most of the time and take one step at a time and keep breathing. And, if you breathe long enough today, a thought will come to you, maybe a desire.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe I'll try that. I would encourage you to try.
Yeah. You said that something very profound, which is that you didn't plan it all. And I think that sometimes people believe that you just sit down and you make this, and it doesn't mean that you don't plan something.
Right,
But
right.
I really appreciate your sharing with the audience that it really is about kind of the journey and how you move through the journey. Is there a defining moment for you that, while maybe you didn't have a complete plan laid out, but are there any defining moments that help to bring you from one crossroad to the next?
I think that's a very good question because uh, I'm credited with continuing to reinvent myself. But I think life brings you to certain crossroads or decisions that when you have to try to make a decision, you're going to stay where you are, you're going to try to do something different. If you are, what is it going to be? How are you going to get there? Do you have to go by yourself? It can be undaunting. I think the first one that comes to mind, and maybe others, was going from a public school music teacher in Newark, New Jersey, to try to be a performing artist. To me, that was a drastic move, and nobody in my family supported it. Maybe particularly my parents, and they were performers, they were entertainers. So I should have listened to them because it made sense that they told me not to do it and they were doing it. I should not have done it. But you know how kids are. They hear what you say, but they look at your face and they see your heart.
They see right through it. They
They
see
see
right
right
through
through you. I
it.
said, no, Daddy, just help me try. If it doesn't work, I'll come back and I teach school. That was the first one that comes to mind. There maybe have been others. Then after that, it just always continued because especially as an artist, maybe particularly as a Black person, and particularly during the times that I was coming along, I'm credited for being the first to do a lot of things. But I think the times were revolutionary. It was when I came out, it was like the 60s. We kind of look back on that and now call it really a cultural revolution.
Mhm.
Everywhere you look in America, maybe across the globe, some kind of revolutionary change was happening. I'm sure it was God. He said, I'm changing things, y'all. So
You got to change
if you ain't
too.
ready, well, sometimes you can't get ready. He has to get you ready
That's
because
right.
you don't even know how you're going to make a living or survive. You don't know how you're going to do. Your parents, they love you, they care about you, they want to know you're going to be able to feed yourself. They're not being superficial about this. They really mean it, and you really love them and you really respect them. So it's a very hard decision to go from something that everybody thinks is solid and secure, as my parents call it, a real job, to go into something where, and especially with Black people, you have to have a manager and attorneys, just and agents,
That's
just to
right.
start looking for jobs. I mean, at a certain level. In the beginning, you go out and you go to the open mics and you go and you're not looking to get paid or anything. So you're trying to get some experience, whatever. But at a certain point, you have to go from that and determine if you're going to be committed to trying to be a professional at that. That's a deep change, and all the different things that go into it. I won't try to go into all the details, but it's very, very difficult. Are you the professional enough? Can you handle your business? Can you pay your bills? Who do you know? What do you can you even count? Can you do you know how to get a bank account?
Yeah. Yeah.
These are really
Yeah.
basic things that doesn't matter really what you want to do. You have to determine these things. But in an industry like the arts, it's very precarious, and everybody thinks they have a solution. It seems like they may have, but it seems like nobody has a solution for you. You still have to find that.
That's right. And that's a only you job.
And then you go into this industry that never stops.
So, first of all, I'm very glad that you didn't listen to your parents because
They were too later on.
because I danced around to you quite a bit, and I had the albums, I had the extended singles. I wrote my name on them and all of that. You were such a part
Precious.
of my adolescence, and I think that we're only like 10 years apart in age, but I really appreciate the fact that you were part of the story and the chapter of my adolescence because your songs have always been and continue to be very inspirational. It's just like joy, happiness. um but my question for you is, if you don't mind, what was it? So you were a teacher in Newark, a music teacher,
Yes.
and what was it that happened there for you? Like, what was it that led you to because you talked about like listening to your parents and all that. So that's a crossroad. So you could have continued to be a music teacher and you could have had an amazing life doing that. And you chose to go into music and had an amazing life, I'm sure, all in doing that. So what was happening in that moment for you that led you to?
It made it more difficult, actually, for me to get the courage to get my parents to support me in trying to leave that and come into this industry, because I'm finding out now that I have special gifts as a teacher. But what I realized somewhere along the way is that I didn't put down teaching or being an that means you're responsible for what you do. When one of the things you find out in the classroom, especially with very young people, maybe older ones in high school too, is that they see how you dress, they see how you act, they see. I taught vocal music, so when I would teach them the song, so my changed my name from Smith to Moore. I said, Miss Smith, you got a beautiful voice. They listen to you, and you're teaching them the little songs in the book, but you really catch their attention if you use the songs that they hear on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that. I mean, looking back now, I can see, not so much then, that I kind of had, which might not be so much now, but then was kind of a revolutionary attitude about how you're going to teach music, how you're going to bring, I'm talking about Black kids and inner city kids, because there is a difference in our cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to bring, blues and the kind of songs that we heard on the radio in, I guess that was, actually that was late 50s, I guess, early 60s, into the classroom. But I remember bringing the song from The Sound of Music, for instance. Some of the songs that I heard as a young person going to the movies. But I can't remember the songs, but I brought songs that I knew they would relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So I began to see that this is, you got to relate.
Yeah.
And you see if it's clicking with them. And then you transition that into, how do you read music? What are the rudiments? How's that going to be relative to you? And how do you keep the young people interested so that they will get the technical things and not get bored and drift away? But it really transfers into, how do you keep your audience interested? What's going to be your style? My natural vocal style was not disco. As a matter of fact, there was no disco yet.
Y'all created it. Y'all made that.
So I guess you learn a kind of creativity
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not sure you have, that you exercise because you get into something I did not want to teach, but when I got into the classroom, I fell in love with it because I fell in love with the children. Then, of course, I remember the songs that I was taught growing up, and you fall in love with the whole thing. So part of the task for me was, then I really did not want to leave. And I was just starting. I hadn't finished practice teaching yet, so I hadn't got my degree yet. So my future was just really beginning as a school teacher. So I knew that I could have a wonderful, secure financial future if I stayed in that. So it was difficult for me to it was agonizing. It wasn't difficult. It was agonizing because, you think to yourself, well, who do you think? You think you're going to be you have all these, you hear who's out here now. You can't sing like them. You have all these things telling you. You don't need to take that kind of chance,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just have everything screaming at you. Don't try. Don't do it. Don't.
Yeah.
But, I didn't feel secure in it at all, but I still asked my stepfather, to help me, take me around to some of his agents and people to see if he could get me into the industry. At that time, I played the piano and I sang. I really didn't stand up and sing yet, except my natural voice was classical. So we would do these operas, and because I always had a major role in one of the high school operas, because that was my natural talent.
Mm-hmm.
But then nobody wanted to hear no opera in the club.
Now I see why you like The Sound of Music, because that's a very operatic type of tone. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but yeah. I can see where that would resonate with you.
Yeah, you have to develop your personality, or allow it to show itself who it is, by trying things and experimenting with things. And it takes lots of coaching. After I left teaching, I took lots of coaching, and then after a while, I think I outgrew the coaches. First of all, I'm a music teacher too, so I would grow probably into my own ear. I'm assuming, but then also as my voice and my whole body and as everybody continues to mature and change, and you're developing a technique that suits the genre that you're mainly in, which is primarily dance music, but of course, um, R&B ballads. And one of the great things about R&B culture is we're creative. So you'll try things, you try to find your style if you don't have it. So now I didn't start out in gospel music, so that's kind of a drawback too.
You did not start out in gospel.
Did not, no. I'm born and still am Catholic. But culturally, that's very, 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 very different.
Yes, it
but
is.
My natural voice is classical. So I've trained myself to do everything else. But then I'm a teacher, so I'm going to teach myself.
Hey, it's Lisane. I created Protect Your Peace, a boundaries and accountability workshop, because I know what it's like to feel stretched too thin and how it feels when you're saying yes to everyone else, but feel like you're disappearing in the process. This workshop is your invitation to pause and to come back to you. In just 2 hours, you'll learn how to set boundaries that reflect your values, protect your energy, and strengthen your voice unapologetically. You'll also learn how to hold yourself accountable in a way that builds self-trust and momentum, not burnout. This is the kind of space I wish I had when I was deep in the cycle of over-responsibility and simply just doing too much. So I created it for you. Join me for Protect Your Peace, live or on demand, and walk away with tools you can use immediately to get back in alignment. Click the link in the show notes to register. You deserve to protect your peace and your power. It's like you've taken the gifts and talents that God has given you, and you have those in a toolbox, and it seems from the outside looking in that you're aware of the tools and talents and gifts that God has given you, and that you draw them out when you need them. But you're aware, it sounds like you're aware of them.
Well, I think I was doing it. This is how you are. You are, you're born a certain way. You have certain things that are your natural tendencies. And I don't think if they're very obvious, sometimes you do, but if they're not, and you keep doing it over time, you kind of see, oh, there's a pattern here. I can't use a vocal teacher anymore. She don't know how to do this. She only sings classical music. Let me see what I can do. And you become more adept at these things. Now I can look back and see, oh, first of all, obviously had a very adventurous nature.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have that, but I'm discovering, and I'm encouraging people not to necessarily do what I did, because God creates you in His own way, like He does fingerprints. But explore yourself. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
See what comes out.
Yeah.
And then see if there's something you can hold on to and try to learn it more, get somebody to tutor you in that, and just kind of explore the different areas that circumstances bring you into, that give you an opportunity to say, well, I don't know if I can do this, but let me try, and see what develops into you, what comes out, and see if you can build up your little repertoire of who you are. It doesn't have to be music.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, I love your suggestion that a person explore yourself, because I think that's we're not taught to explore ourselves. We're taught to follow, many people, not everyone, but many people are thought to follow a particular path, whatever that path is, and to not spend a lot of time thinking about yourself and exploring yourself. And I think if there's anything so far that's come out of this conversation that I think is so helpful, it is that. It's taking the time to explore yourself so that you know who you are, and so that you know who God made. Because God doesn't put things into us for nothing, for no reason. You don't have the voice that you have for no reason. You don't have the grit and the courageousness and the adventurous spirit that you have for nothing. It's there for a reason. And you've chosen to take that and to bring it out of you into the world. So it's almost like you've unfolded. You know, you've had a journey of unfolding, which I think is such a beautiful thing. What is if you could say something, I don't know how old you were and I won't ask, but at that stage of your life of being a teacher and stepping into the entertainment world, if there was any advice that you could go back to give yourself, what would it be?
I don't know that I would do anything differently. I think because you don't know how you're wired.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing I can do now is take advantage of the fact that God has given me long life.
Mm.
And so people that are coming along now, I can say, if you can, try to be a good example wherever you are.
Yeah.
You don't have to be older. You might be younger. You might be, you might find out that, for instance, you're smarter than a lot of people. Or you might find out, well, I'm not as smart as some other people. Or I'm different in this way. Maybe your surroundings don't support that. I would just encourage you. I'll put a voice out here that you can hear from now on that says, well, I'm good enough. I'll be the best person I can be because
Yeah.
I'll influence somebody in that way. And
Yeah.
you influence each other. Everybody does. Maybe we don't know that. So now that I'm mature and I'm still here, and I have an opportunity to tell you that's going to happen to you, and it is happening to you. You don't have to go through it blindly. So you can try at whatever ability that you have to be the best kind of person that you can be. You can be friendly. You can be communicative. You can be encouraging to one another. You can accept criticism. Kids, especially by preteens, well, they're brutal with each other.
They are
I just
just
have to tell
mean.
them, your hormones will calm down in a second. I don't know what to tell y'all.
They're in it. They're in it.
At this point, everybody, gives you the privilege of asking your advice.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you need to look at certain areas of life too and say, I'm not sure I have the wisdom that they need at their stage in life. But if you're looking at me, I'm trying to set a good example for you. I'm trying to be a loving person. I'm trying to be a person who expresses their opinion. I don't have to agree with you. Already I'm
Yeah.
getting adamant, right?
I don't.
But I'm not angry. I'm just energetic
Yeah.
because you've got to have differences of opinion. You've got to, because first of all, I know that there's so much wrong going on in the world. And you can't just be silent about it,
Yeah.
but you can't raise the war to a higher level. You're trying to bring peace.
That's
That's
right.
your goal.
That's
So
right.
everybody's goal is to bring peace. But that don't mean shut up and sit down.
It means to choose how you're going to contribute. Because I think that's what happens so often is people are just, I'm going to throw my voice out there, but to be conscious of whether you're, and it's a crossroad moment, right? Are you going to sow peace or are you going to stir the pot? And you have to decide which of those two things you're going to do. And sometimes you have to stir the pot, but just be conscious of what you're doing.
I'm glad you said it that way too, because they may not feel or know that they're at a crossroads. But we're telling you, whether you know it or not,
Yeah.
make this conscious effort in your own mind to always try to choose peaceful, loving way about wherever you find it. Make it a habit. Start
Right.
to think that way.
Right. To actually think. I think you were talking before about not being the smartest person in the room, but I think that it's important to learn how to be smart about you. You can be smart about yourself. Like you can't control all the people around you. And we encounter other people, and that's just part of the journey of the human experience. But what we can do is learn how to be smart about ourselves and learn how to tune into the person that we are so that we're, like you just said, making a conscious decision about how we're going to show up in these different situations, because we don't have the roadmap always. We can have an idea of what we'd like to do or where we'd like to be, but the real journey is in those moments from one step, one decision to the next decision and to the next decision. And then I think, for me at least, what's been important is to understand what my through line is. And for me, my through line has been courage, for sure, and love, and love, and wanting to sow love. And then all the other stuff just kind of
It
comes in.
does, yeah. And if you do the opposite, that all follows too.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
It gives me the opportunity to test it out, to make sure that my commitment is really my commitment.
I love the way you put it. Yes.
So tell me, so you received this Lifetime Achievement Award from President Biden. How did that feel?
Um, it made me feel as though, gee, my life was not just getting older, it's apparently accumulating certain aspects of my life and habits that people see that kind of add up to you're a good citizen. Oh,
Mm.
if the president says so, I know that's true. I feel like, excuse me, I'm gonna put this in my house to look at this and remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very happy. I don't like to use the word pride because I feel like, especially in our industry, because we're artists, we have to pay so much attention to ourselves. We can get lost in the selfishness of it.
Mm.
And then when someone, with the stature of the President of the United States and all of that support him, gives you a Lifetime Achievement Award, you can just kind of look at that and just bask, and I do, bask
Good.
in it.
Good.
But I want to remind myself not to get lost in that because life is still here and you still have some achievements. You don't know what challenges are going to come along that could tear you away from your goals or your commitments. And it's getting more difficult in society
It
out
is.
here. It is. So, and you can't, you don't achieve these things or anything by staying in your own little wall of just mental or whatever. So you could open yourself back up now, go to some people or allow them to come to you, or maybe some new people trying to get into the industry and you trying to take care of your job. And they're trying to see, can you get me a job? Be open to that and look at what their dreams are. They don't have it all together yet, so they're not going to be all fine and fancy and whatever. Put whatever is your accolades are aside for just one moment and look at somebody from what you hope is their level of respect and their point of view. And that's going to be challenging because you're not there anymore. And
Yeah.
unless you consciously bring yourself back there, and it's not bringing yourself down,
Yeah.
it's learning to refresh your sense of respect for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. And I think that's a lot of times why people in the industry, even if they haven't achieved a lot of success, I don't know, we get these arrogant, like prideful attitudes. It's easy for us in the profession that we're in because we have to spend so much time nurturing and training ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You spend a lot of time thinking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, you're not thinking about other people. And then when you get it all done, well, I'm ready to go on stage and put my best foot, my.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a great, 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 great honor, but it's also a reminder to me, okay, you love that, put it aside now, and let's see, not only what's next for you, but what is there somebody out there that needs your assistance again, that you can get involved with? What are you going to be to be a good volunteer, good citizen now?
But it is an achievement, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay. It's okay to feel into something that you've accomplished, because you worked so hard for it for so long that, the ability to actually have a moment to get celebrated for the work that you've done. We're not all in a position to get a Lifetime Achievement Award by the President of the United States.
Right. It ain't something everybody get every day.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you don't have that, I do think it's important to stop. And I'm really talking to myself here. I'm a person where I just keep it going and it's like, okay, next I've done this. Great. I have all this energy and all of these desires for things that I want to accomplish. And sometimes I really have to remind myself to stop and just like give myself a moment. And it doesn't mean to sit in it and, and be overly egotistical about it at all. That's just not my nature. But it is important, I think, to acknowledge yourself from time to time.
And also acknowledge the people that are giving you this honor, because if you ignore yourself, you kind of throw them away too. You don't want to do that.
That's right. That's right. All right, can we talk a moment about setting the vibe? If you're anything like me, your space needs to feel good in order for you to feel good. And that's why I created the Shaping Freedom line of candles. It's not just about ambiance, but really about how you align yourself internally. These are more than just candles, they shift your energy. Whether you're journaling, meditating, working out, or just taking a moment for yourself, these scents are curated to ground you, lift you up, and bring you back home to yourself. They also have an 80-hour burn time and scents that are designed to evoke feelings of alignment and internal congruency. And we can all use that. Go to shop.shapingfreedom.com and check them out. Find the one that speaks to your spirit or buy all four and let them burn with intention. So, what has been your through line? Like, what has been the thing that has kept Melba Moore grounded and centered and able to move forward through the things that
Oh,
you've gone through in your life?
well, I'm a born again Christian and still Catholic. And Catholic group of people, it's not a denomination. It's the first group of people that Jesus himself began. My point being, all the physical representations of Christianity are still there for you to go and study. And they tell you we have a calendar, really, of everything that's supposed to be thought about on each particular day. Like Sunday's the day he rose up, so we study the glorious mysteries. Monday we study the joyful mysteries. We remember when we say the rosaries about how Mary was approached by the angel Gabriel. In other words, our days are really ordered by the Lord, and so now it's become. I'm feeling a way that I'm almost like retired because that's my first job, and so he tells me what I'm going to do every day first, and get into all of that. Then it's okay. Okay, well, what about my little ministry? What about my singing here? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's now in second place, and he's in first place,
Mm.
literally. So, what one of the particular, maybe very strong examples I can give you, and now being grounded, we're in what I would call the fourth day of Pentecost.
Mm.
That's and that's literally on the calendar.
Okay.
So there's no way I would remember or think about that. I'd be going on because we took so long. First of all, getting ready for resurrection for him. After we celebrated Easter, we celebrated literally the 40 days that he was with us after he rose up from the dead, so that we could experience and try to find out what is it really like to be with somebody who rose himself up from the dead, not
Mm-hmm.
just talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. So I feel as though we're more than grounded because this is a reality for us. And you asked me the question, so I have the privilege of speaking about it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I wouldn't, because my calling is not to be a preacher
Mm-hmm.
or not to be a religious leader. So I have to do it in my life so that God gives me the reward of developing my talent, allowing me to have great success. That when it gets out there, hopefully people say, "Well, how can she do that?" And at her age, and this, you're going to have to know it. It had to be God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I stay grounded.
Do you have a favorite scripture?
No, because I look at what He's saying each day. Right
Mm.
now, I'm trying to stay focused on that. It's still Pentecost, so I look at the scriptures that remind me
Mm-hmm.
of what happened to His disciples
Mm-hmm.
after He ascended,
Mm-hmm.
because He sent this power down. And what I see happening into my life, and I follow those scriptures daily, is my finances are increasing.
Mm-hmm.
I have I think I have three new records out. Two of them are on my daughter's recording label. One is from my album that's it's almost 3 years old now, but we're still releasing singles from it. The album is called Imagine, and the latest single is called Take Her Picture Down. And there's a new well a song being featured. I don't think it's being released as a single, called Free, which is an inspirational song. That's on that side of the music. But I have a new song that's going to be a new summer like dance, a banger called No Filter.
You played it on your IG. I heard it.
It's getting ready to be
Yes.
a huge, 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 huge
It's
hit.
wonderful. It is
I'm saying that
wonderful.
that is not natural.
Why isn't it natural? What's
how
unnatural about it?
well, I don't want to mention any names, but you look at any other people that are in my age category or in my, they're not going to have a brand new hit dance single now. They don't know what to listen for. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them don't really have their voices anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can't carry it. It doesn't so much matter what you look like, but if you can look like you're supposed to and everything,
Yeah.
you have a more complete
Yeah.
success of it.
Yeah. It's a great song. I'm telling you, your voice, it's Melba Moore's voice doing the
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, I heard it I went to your Instagram page.
But also the team of people that put it together. It's a whole new way of doing things now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not led by God, you're just not going to be in the right place to have it happen for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still speaking a little bit prematurely in a sense because you asked me the question and I have the privilege of talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just out, so we'll see if I'm right, like in 2 or 3 months,
It's a great song.
and see what it does to my life and my career, but what it does to the whole industry in the world, because I think it's going to be huge. I think it
Mm-hmm.
is.
We need great music. We need great music. We need fun.
God wants us to have great music,
That's right. That's right.
but for His purposes, and part of it is to show, well, it's never too late for you if you follow my rules,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not to say that other artists in other categories are doing other great things, but this is a little bit kind of unusual to have a fresh dance hit at this stage.
Yeah.
It's a little bit unusual.
Is there a song that you've recorded that still gives you chills?
Gives me chills.
Mm. Like, was there a song that you recorded where you were just like, oh, okay, yeah.
I was tickled because you said gives me chills. My voice don't give me chills no more. But
Well, back then, whenever, like over the course of this amazing career that you have, is there a song that you recorded where you felt excited, like really like, wow, this is it?
there is one song and it's called "Lean on Me." It was written by Ben McCoy for
Mm,
Miss Aretha Franklin, and I heard her sing it first.
mm-hmm,
And of course, I might be older than she is, although she's passed away, and she came into the industry very very early
mm-hmm,
before I did. So I heard her sing it first,
mm-hmm,
and I developed it into it helped me develop my singing style.
mm-hmm,
And but the song has such charisma that no matter where I sing it or who I sing it to, it moves them so unbelievably.
mm,
And if they've heard it a zillion times or if they've never heard it before, they react the same way. So I'm always in awe at just, well, the song, period. I don't know why it does that, but it does. I'm enamored by it. I'm glad that it was a song where I first did some of these long high notes and stuff. So I was really developing my style so I can see on record now. I mean,
mm-hmm,
before that song, I didn't do that. I didn't do it that way. It
mm-hmm,
hadn't presented itself yet. So that song is like really kind of amazing to me as an ability for me to look back at myself and see what I was and see what I am now. And
mm-hmm,
I'm still singing the song to see and to compare. So I think it's just a whole amazing set of things that I'm able to observe in that one song. It
mm-hmm.
doesn't give me chills anymore, though.
But at the time, yeah.
Well, at the time, I was really amazed. And I think, once again, because in some cases, it was the first time that I was able to hit those notes. They weren't there before.
Mm. It's like you learned yourself. You learned
Yeah,
another part of yourself in that song.
yeah.
Is there an artist that you wish that you could have shared the stage with?
That's a good question.
And it doesn't matter where the artist, like, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. It could be a more recent artist or it could be, an older artist.
Yes, you know what? I never thought about that like that. But you know who I would have liked to have done a duet with is Roberta Flack.
Mm.
She has such an amenable,
Oh,
and
wow.
maybe one of the songs that she's written.
Yeah.
She was such a complete.
Yeah.
uh, um, musician, and she did a lot of things with other artists. Maybe you know, back in the day, it might have been nice to have had that experience.
Wow, that would be beautiful. You know what I just thought about randomly? I thought about when Natalie Cole recorded that album uh, with her dad, with Nat King Cole, after he had passed. And she recorded that album of duets with him. And that
Yes,
was so
amazing.
beautiful. And I don't, just a random thought that just
Well,
popped.
no, I can see why it would come to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What Nat was and meant, and to have her come and have her own way of expressing that the next generation, and
Yeah.
to see it together is just it's it's a kind of a holy moment.
It was, like I'm remembering it.
Yeah,
I have the CD somewhere, and I'm remembering that album and how I felt, and imagining how she must have felt, may have felt,
yeah,
having that beautiful privilege to be able to record something with her dad.
that's what I think. You say it better, but that's what I think.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, why it would come to you as a kind of like iconic example of what it might be to two great artists singing together.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
period.
And to have the ability to create that, with technology.
Even after one had passed away.
I would also love to hear you sing with Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh no!
I think that would be such a beautiful thing.
Well, now there's one to give you chills.
Yeah, that would give me chills.
You know what? I do a tribute to her. Did you ever hear her do Airmail Special?
No.
It goes ba-dum did it, ba-dum did it, ba-dum did it, did it, did it, ba-dum did it, ba-dum. Wait, if I did that with her as a duet, just
Oh,
scatting.
wow. Just scatting, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, then you could like put the Melba Moore flair on it and kind of like make it into a
I
dance
would just
thing.
try. I
We
follow
would
Miss L.
love that. We would
I
love
would never
that.
have thought of that. Let's see. I
We
would
would
never.
love that.
That would be incredible.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
That's that's hilarious. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Me doing a duet with Miss Ella.
Right? And scatting though.
No one would. They would be surprised at that.
Yeah, but that we need to be surprised. We want to be surprised. We need and want to be surprised. We need some new energy. We need to understand that passion and creativity is not about any particular point that you're at in your life. It's about what's in your heart. And it's about your ability to tap into your creativity and express it. That is what it is. And I think there's so many, I don't know the music industry, that I haven't been in that industry very much at all actually, but um I would imagine that having some new ideas and new creative thoughts and bringing those to the forefront, that has nothing to do with age. Nothing.
But your mind is so creative. Wow. I would never think of anything like that.
Well,
Mm-mm.
hopefully,
I mean,
hopefully.
I'm sure I'm creative, but not like that. You have your own gift from the Lord of it's creative.
I have
Yeah,
a gift of putting things together. I have a gift of
yeah,
seeing
absolutely.
patterns in things and then
Yeah,
putting two things together. That
yeah,
is that is part
yeah.
of the gift that
It's
God's
a
given me
gift.
that I
Yeah,
enjoy very much. It's a little, you know, unique, but I do enjoy it.
yeah.
um, so, what does freedom mean to you today?
Freedom. Immediately, because I see what's going. It would mean peace,
Mm,
clarity. I mean, for everybody. Not just for me.
yeah.
A little coming down of all the chaos that seems to be consciously created.
Mm-hmm. Intentionally and consciously created for sure. As we uh, come short on time here, how can we support you? You have done, and I know there's so much more for you, so much more to come. What I take out of this conversation that we're having is I feel so honored to be able to sit with your incredible spirit, and I could see the love and the creativity and the generosity, and that you are a woman of faith and also a woman who has walked through her own challenges, and you appear to be a person who stands in them. You stand up. You're living life standing up, and you have the courage to get out there and just do a thing. And not everyone does that, and it's such a model for people, and it's such a model for younger women of all ages, actually, who find it very easy to talk themselves out of doing just what you have done and are doing with your life. To just talk themselves out of it. Like, I can't do that, I'm too old, or I can't do that because I'm a teacher. Why would I go off and do this thing? And it seems like you have lived a life of standing up and showing up for yourself and for God's calling on your life. And I want to just thank you for that. Like, we need more of that. We need as much of that as we can possibly get. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. How can we support you?
Well, just let everybody know about my new single, No Filter, and take her picture down.
Support your music. We support Melba Moore's music. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate this morning. This feels good. I was feeling a little hectic this morning, and
okay.
Yeah, and this has been an amazing conversation and such a great start to my day. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you know that I've enjoyed this too, and I hope you'll invite me back.
I will invite you back.
Have some chit chats.
It's so funny. That has been my word lately, Melba. I've been saying chitty chat for like 4 days all week. I'm like, I'm just having a little chitty chat. And
I think it can be therapeutic,
Yeah, very, very. This has been a great chit chat, a really wonderful chit chat. Thank you.
Thank you.